Guys, after subscribing to this channel, please make sure that you also press the bell icon so that no notification, no new video of mine, any educational video, is missed by anybody.
So I welcome everybody once again, since now we're recording. So I'll just start with this introduction of tonight's class, a very, very conceptual topic again, management of abnormal uterine bleeding. And along with that, I've brought to you postcoital bleeding. Not very often do we hear this term, not very often do we talk about it, but it's a very, very important term nevertheless. Usually, postcoital bleed is associated with cervical cancer, and postmenopausal bleed is associated with endometrial cancer. Postmenopausal bleed, a lot has been said. There are topics in every book. There are that's an easy chapter to start with, and that it's associated with endometrial cancer. So this topic gets covered somehow. Postcoital bleed, there's no separate chapter like this. You will not find it very easily in the books, because of which I thought of just discussing it with you. I have also posted a couple of reading snippets over it. I think you people are taking a note of that. Please, this Telegram channel, everybody who's on this channel, please make sure that you're following this channel every day, because I try to give value to everything that is there on associated with me on the media. Be it my Facebook page, which is there for mostly for notifications. Anything new that I bring up, anything new that I'm introducing, I put up on Facebook. So it's mostly notification page. As far as my the app is concerned, both on the on the iPhone and both on your Android phones, it's there for my basic study material. You'll find everything connected to the classes and everything connected to your study material available over there. And this Telegram channel is basically for the communication between you and me. I wanted an interface so that my students can also reach up to me. They can reach to each other. There were a couple of, very important announcements made by you, through you with each other. Sometimes even I don't get to know when were the dates announced. So it's through you, a direct connection with you, that these things get to me, and which is why I created this channel, so that we can all have an interface with one another. So this channel is very, very important. It's unlike your other Telegram channels. Please unmute. I've just given you a message. Unmute your notifications for this, so that you do not miss out on anything that gets announced. And at the same time, I try to make it more interactive by posting something you will not find easily, a ready-made flow chart, or a ready-made tabular form of maybe the causes or the investigations or the differential diagnosis on anything. Okay, I'll try to be a little more organized when I'm kind of posting it. I'll try to post things which are related to the topic, but whenever I'm reading something and I find something very good, beautifully given, which will help you out, I usually post it on this Telegram channel. So make sure that you've all joined it and you've all unmuted this channel, because otherwise you will not get the notifications. Now, beginning with the class tonight, we're talking about abnormal uterine bleeding, and I'm not talking about heavy menstrual bleeding. I'm talking about abnormal uterine bleeding. Heavy menstrual bleeding is a complete nice guideline, it's a beautiful guideline, but that's only on heavy bleeding. We're not discussing it over here. I'm talking about abnormal uterine bleeding, which can be very high, which can be, the quantity may be heavy, it could be less, it could be erratic, it could be frequent, it could be spaced out, it could be amenorrhea, it could be oligomenorrhea. So we're going to go through that whole thing. And mind you, tonight the notes, they are made by two important things. One is the Foxy guidelines, which is Indian guidelines, and the other one is the FIGO guidelines, which came in 2011, the ones which coined the term palm coin, and then 2018, which were a remodification. They introduced a couple of things, accepted a couple of things, and they redefined a couple of definitions. So based on those two important guidelines, I've made these notes. They're pretty well organized, but they're just literally touching upon. This is actually the introductory lecture to what I'm going to get this month. Okay, after a lot of requests and communications through my students, I have understood what topics you really want me to take. And obviously, it's just a random order of taking up. Some of you have requested me. In fact, a lot of you have requested me for, this malignancy, the lecture on the various malignancies. I will be taking up, but this is actually the basics and starts from here. So until unless I've spoken about the normal basic topics, I cannot go on to the pre-invasive carcinomas and then finally the invasive carcinoma. So that's how I'm going to design it, and I'll take you through this entire journey. So let's begin tonight's class with talking about the abnormal uterine bleeding. See, whenever I speak to you in terms of a postgraduate level, remember, I think you've heard many podcasts also of my students that, ma'am, they usually start, they do not want to listen to the history. They usually start from your diagnosis. Tell us your diagnosis, okay? They keep skipping part of your history. They keep skipping parts of your examinations. And, we get a little disoriented and they simply ask us the diagnosis. Once they got the diagnosis, they immediately start the management. That's the Viva for a postgraduate, okay? We know what to ask to whom. So obviously, when they ask you at your level, they'll ask you more about management. So the heading, I'm trying to justify that when you come to talking to a postgraduate, we speak usually about directly the diagnosis and the management or the differential diagnosis. So no matter what the heading says, I'll still be telling you and clarifying a couple of important terminologies of abnormal uterine bleeding, and we'll take it up from there. Okay, I'll be touching upon a couple of topics, but remember that I'll be taking them in depth henceforth. So if fibroid comes and goes, or polyps come and go, or adenomyosis just touched upon, do not feel bad, because these topics are going to be discussed in depth in the future. Very near future to come. So let's start with abnormal uterine bleeding. This is again, entire thing is from FIGO, and the latest FIGO guidelines on 2018. Actually, it's a FIGO update every time. So this is defined as the bleeding from the uterus that is abnormal in what? Regularity, volume, frequency, or duration. So there are so many things on which this we call it abnormal, whether it's coming regularly or not, whether the flow is absolutely okay or not, whether the duration is okay or not, whether the frequency is all right or not. So whenever a patient comes to you, you always ask the menstrual history in these four formats, right? How often is the bleeding coming? Your cycles are regular or not? How many pads do you soak? How many days does it stay? And how much interval does it come back again, right? And to standardize the nomenclature, there are certain what factors behind this abnormal uterine bleeding, which are very well known to all of you, which were coined in 2011, and they are PALM coin, which is based on the etiopathogenesis of abnormal uterine bleeding by the FIGO. The PALM, PALM, describes the structural causes, and the coin, it describes the non-structural causes. So you have the structural causes like P for polyps, A for adenomyosis, leiomyomas, and malignancy. That finishes off with your PALM. And then coins, you have the coagulopathies, the ovulatory disorders, the endometrial disorders, the endocrinal disorders, iatrogenic disorders, and or iatrogenic clauses, and the unknown non-defined causes, right? So this is about your etiology. Now, a little bit more. See, I very vaguely said, right? Anything which is abnormal in regularity, abnormal in volume. Now, isn't that very ambiguous for if you say this to an examiner? I mean, even a layman can, describe what, this abnormal uterine bleeding is. So the question is, what do you call abnormal, duration? Or what do you call an abnormal frequency? Or what do you call exactly a heavy bleeding or a light bleeding? Everybody is different. Everybody's perspective is different. So here is the answer. They've made it very categorical. As you can see, this white is saying the normal. Every white line means I'm talking about the normal thing. Every grayish line is saying the abnormal part. So frequency. So if the cycle is coming very frequently, it's coming less than 24 days, it's abnormal. If it's coming very late, it's coming after 38 days, it's again abnormal, right? If there's no bleeding at all, that is also abnormal. So they include amenorrhea also over here. But what is normal is somewhere above or equal to 24, even if it's coming at 24 days or it's coming at 38 days. Every time it's coming on 38 days, it's normal frequency. And what about the duration? If it's staying for more than 8 days, not equal to. If it's staying for 8 days, it's still normal. If it's staying for more than 8 days, I mean 9 days and more, it's abnormal. What about regularity? Normal, regular, shortest to longest cycle variation should be, if it's 7 to 9 days here and there. You understand? If it's 7 to 9 days here or there, it's considered to be a almost regular cycle. But if the length is increasing for more than 8 to 10 days, that becomes an irregular, erratic, shortest to longest cycle. That means sometimes your cycle is coming in, let's say it's coming in 9 days. Sometimes it's coming in 15 days. So that is an irregular cycle. Okay. But if it's almost coming between 7 to 9 days here or there, it's pretty regular cycling. And then the most important and the most controversial part of all, the flow. You heard this so many times in your OPDs. Earlier on I had a very normal cycle. Now the flow has increased. So NICE in this case is very categoric. I think I do have that line over here for you. See, according to NICE, this is National Institute of National Health and Clinical Excellence. Okay, I'll just mark it with another color. So National Institute of Health and Clinical Excellence, they say excessive menstrual blood loss, you know what? Which interferes with the woman's physical, social, emotional, or material quality of life. So for them, Europeans, very important is your psychosexual and physical health. Both are equally important. So if a person comes to you and says that I'm not feeling well, I think I'm bleeding a lot, I get tired very easily. From a long time since I'm having this heavy periods, I don't feel like going out. I'm missing out on my work. I want to stay home when I'm having periods. So for them, this thing becomes suddenly very, very important. Why is it so important? Is because it's altering their quality of life. Because those people in European states, or I'm mostly bothered about European because it's the guideline from UK. So those people are like, most of them are well educated and they have a good knowledge on this psychosexual platform. So they are very, very kind of sensitive. In Indian population, if you consider the same definition, it will not be absolutely justified. So then these people, they came up with these pictorial graphs. You can see this, the PBAG scoring. PBAG scoring, I'm talking about pictorial blood assessment charts. So these were brought up. These were earlier on brought up by FIGO only, and then they abandoned them, saying something like this over here. See, the volume, light, normal, heavy. So it depends upon what patient calls light, normal, and heavy. And they brought this thing before, this PBAG, that is pictorial assessment chart. So if you can see over here, I'll try to just enlarge the size for you for some time so that you can see, and then we're going to put it back again. So see, have a look at the sanity patch. This is a dot, just put, maybe 1 is lightly stained, 5 is moderately stained, 20 is completely stained. So if you're talking about this day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just mention which kind of pad you observe. And then we kind of calculate. We just, add these points up. And if you finish a score of 100 or greater, that means the periods are actually heavy. So this was about the pictorial graph. So this was a category by FIGO only. It was designed by FIGO, and that just helped you understand what heavy period is. But we now go by these NICE guidelines. These NICE guidelines also came up in 2018. So they say excessive menstrual loss, that means where the female is feeling that she is having that kind of loss of blood, where she's either physically or socially or emotionally feeling it's interfering with her quality of life, right? This is about the international standards.